That was them just guilt tripping him into ignoring his emotions and PTSD, not dealing with his problem.
Would you rather he die? Because if white base
No,
goes down, they're all gonna fucking die.
I get that, but like, have other people capable of doing any form of defense.
Oh, they did. They all died. Hey everybody, welcome back to another Stone Face Reactions. I'm Theta, beneath me is Justin, below him is Lessons, and we are here with another episode of Gundam, Mobile Suit Gundam, the OG. Let's see, who wants to do a recap of what happened last time?
Yeah, last time was episode 8, Winds of War. Some of the refugees has petitioned to be dropped off on the ground on account of they're tired of being bounced around and not being told what's happening. Bright uses this as an excuse to attack the Zeon forces on a temporary ceasefire. The Gun Perry, which is a big transport, goofy-looking transport, transporting the refugees, also secretly unloads Amuro's Gundam and has Flash, a Zeon soldier. Kai Shaiden's gun cannon then descends to the ground to lure the enemy. The Gundam attacks from the rear of the lake with a pincer movement after being chased away, and thinking that young mother would be killed by the Zeon forces. And Bright's building strategy unfolds. And the day is one?
It is one day.
They survived. They answered the question, will they survive? And the answer was, yeah, they did.
Yeah, I don't know who they're asking that, actually.
No, well, at the end of every episode, it's like, would you survive? It's like, well,
it's not saying, would you survive? It's like, can you survive? Or it's like, that's what I'm saying. Who are they asking, though?
Yeah.
Us, the viewer? Yeah, my heart's not that weak.
I can survive. I've been doing it for over 30 years.
How old are you?
Over 30.
Over 30? So you weren't alive when the show came out, though.
No.
So you weren't surviving.
No. I was not.
All right.
He wasn't even vibing back then. We weren't surviving.
All right, well, we've got the board over here where we've added a few more people, and I've rearranged a couple of people. Namely, I've moved Smith and Pello. Hair, I believe, is the running gag from Lessons.
Yeah.
Down over here, more in line with the other civilians that were on the ship, or now not on the ship.
True.
And of course, their little friendship here with the Zeon, Big John. I will explain Guile being here in the same fashion that I explained the first time I watched this episode. They name drop Guile in the attack. We don't see him on screen, but they tell him to retreat. And when I originally made the board, I of course make this off of the behind the voice actors, the images that they use for the characters that they voice act.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the image for Guile. So that's why I put a big old question mark over him. Obviously, I know who he is now, but that is the existing train of thought from last go around.
Is he gonna challenge Ryu to a fight in an American airbase? That's
no, because you see that's how that's spelled, Guile.
Yeah.
He's obviously going to challenge Ryu to a fight. Also, I can't imagine Guile having that haircut.
That's actually Guy Y'all. So he's just saying hello.
But of course we have Bobson here, who's been in the command chamber with Garma all the way up here. Otherwise, an added death marker here for Amuro. For Amuro's little chain here, Bison is now dead.
Indeed.
Other than that, I think everything is basically still the same. See what I do? The original time I watched this, obviously, I rewatched the episode, took notes, and then made the board changes off of that. What I'm doing this time around is I'm just watching the old episodes where I have the commentary, taking down the transcript, and then really carefully squinting and looking at the board as me and Griff talked about it and see what changes I need to make again. So that's my little cheat method at the moment. But yeah, speaking of notes, I will say a lot of the notes I did cut out because we talked about them directly during the episode. I think specifically, obviously, a lot of laughter to be had about Amuro passing out and then doing the whole jerk stick motion thing. But Lessons was quick. Well, Lessons was quick to defend him in that moment, and one of my literal thoughts from that episode was the fact of how respectable it was that they had previously talked about the fact that it would be so many G's as to kill an adult, and it's Amuro who's doing it, who's himself a child, basically. So the fact that he survives through it is less than a laughing matter. And also I enjoyed the fact that snapped his neck to the side with the G's, but then when he wakes up, you see he's leaning forward and his head's down, implying that the core fighter is slowed down in a show don't tell fashion. So other than that, though, the kept thoughts, I always think it's crazy where shows that consistently have spaceships and whatnot in orbit around a planet can't keep track of stuff on its surface. Maybe I just assume that due to it being the future, that they would be able to do better than we can now. I know Minovsky particles can hide things from radar and the like, but there are a number of satellite imagery techniques to be able to watch a target on the ground that should be even simpler when you can control your spaceship and not stuck in a specific orbit like our satellites are. The Falmer ought to be up there keeping a visual on White Base at all times. I guess the reconnaissance plane is a close second to that, but it's feels a bit hockey by comparison.
Well, I think I stated that last time, and it does brush up with Justin Wu, but it's not technically because we've seen it already in the series that the space around Earth is contested.
We already had that. We had that debate though as well about the fact that the Falmer is up there not being contested.
So what's the last time they talked to the Falmer? Like 3 episodes ago, 4 episodes ago?
I don't know, 1 or 2 episodes ago. Because remember the shuttle comes down from the Falmer.
Yeah,
and
but after that they haven't. They haven't
that last
communicated
episode,
with
in fact, actually. Because remember the shuttle gets into the fight with the core fighter, and that's where the shuttle comes from.
No, the shuttle took off from the base on the ground, not from the Falmer.
Well, I'm pretty sure the Falmer is still up there.
Somewhere, but
well, that's because that's where Dren comes from. Dren comes from the Falmer. He doesn't come from the ground.
No, but he was piloting the shuttle. It was him and Shar. They landed, and now they were on the base, and they took off from a ramp. Yeah, they even had a whole thing where they had the ramp. So.
I'm saying that implies where the Falmer is then. But something I brought up when I originally wrote this was the fact that the first thing I thought of was that Will Smith movie, Enemy of the State, where it's literally the movie just filled with satellite images of him running around on rooftops and shit. So I'm just saying, literally, also the White Base is a white and blue object and a brown background of a desert. It's like really hard to miss.
It might be a little obvious to spot.
Well, I know one of you brought up cloud cover or something like that, which would be great, if not for the fact that they're also doing like spy plane reconnaissance on it with no cloud cover to be seen. So it just feels a little bit ridiculous. And I understand it's older media, so they don't have the actual years of build-up of sci-fi and actual technology to go with. It's just a little bit of disappointment on my side. So we know that Earth was polluted and overcrowded to the point that it was almost uninhabitable enough that even with half the population moved off the planet, parts of Africa are still becoming unlivable by humans. It's from the origin, by the way. And we now find out that some of the population were forced to move to space, evicted from their homes, and separated from their loved ones. Enough that even on Side 7, the under construction side, that I would have thought had the most voluntary population of all, had these people that just desperately wanted to get back to Earth. It's an interesting angle to consider. Zeon with his space is the place extremism, Giran and his spaceborne humans are the next step of evolution, and just these ordinary people from Earth that were forced into it. They just want to go back to Earth.
It's Gundam being complex in their takes on things. In a good way.
I certainly wouldn't have thought that of any of them when we saw them in the origin getting off the landing craft, right? They certainly didn't seem excited in retrospect to be there, but
also there's also a political aspect to it as well. If you do have more recent Earth citizens, there's a good chance, not a guarantee one, of course, that they will side with Earth. So if you have a political situation, you put more people that are more friendly to you, ostensibly, even if they got forced out of their houses, their homes. So that's something you have to weigh in. Versus the people who already have been there, right, and are like, oh well, we grew up in space. We have no connection to Earth other than the policies of the Earth Federation. We want to go our own way. You know, it's. I don't want to give credence to.
It's
no,
the
I don't want to give a lot
Lucia.
of yeah, I don't want to get credence to certain things that are happening right now that I interpreted that way.
Well, we don't see a lot of democracy on the sides, so it's really not even like an election interference, like moving a lot of people that'll vote your way. But I was saying it's more of a Ros Lucia Zeon sort of thing, where it's third generation colonists versus new arrivals. That you feel like, well, my dad was born in space, I was born in space, we are spacenoid now. My interests are beholden to what has happened here, versus a new arrival is like, well, I would like things to be different, and I only have my current experiences to deal with, so you should change to accommodate me.
It's a very interesting view to kind of think and figure out what resolutions are possible on the scale that that's being dealt with.
And also, I think if you're going to keep on building sites, you need population, right? Not only for the construction, but support, consuming. I mean, space capitalism seems to be a situation here. We haven't seen any other economic system. Ergo, you need consumers as well.
Well, again, it seems more of a product of the death of the Earth than it does. I don't know. Economics is not the word I was going for when I originally started talking, but my brain's got out in the middle. It seems more of a product of the fact that a lot of Earth is becoming uninhabitable, even before Operation British. So the fact that there's like a lot less workable farmland, and now we have occupation areas where people aren't going to be able to work who would have normally worked menial jobs that would have produced things, you know?
The irony, I think, is that Operation British, as brutal as it was, and I'm very much on the it was very brutal and it was a war crime side, could have done a bit of a reset on Earth, like the dust and the fact that you have a massive depopulation. You don't have all that, continued environmental damage once it's settled, right? So whatever was happening would be slowed down, unless the implication is that Earth was already past the tipping point. Short of, engaging in full eco-fascism would stop it,
This is one of the comments I didn't write down because we had it during the episode. Well, we had the first half of the comment in the episode, which was, I asked if they had directed an entire thing. If Island Ifish had hit its target directly, would the damage have been less to the world than it's spreading out across the entire planet? Because like the location of last episode, as I thought anyway, was destroyed by the debris of Island Ifish. That crater was as a result of that. If everything hitting one spot, and the end statement of that whole discussion that we didn't have, obviously, was the fact that the planetary destruction effect, the amount of shit that would have been kicked up into the atmosphere, causing basically the same effect of a nuclear winter, didn't happen in the show.
I think it would also be more damaging if it struck where the original target was based off how close it was to the equator.
Well, it was supposed to hit in the
Venezuela.
base.
It's in
No, it's not
Venezuela.
Venezuela.
No, it is
Is it
Venezuela.
Venezuela? I know.
Yeah.
I think it's Brazil.
No. The problem here is that I did a lot of map work with Griffin back in the day, and it
Okay.
is in Venezuela according to the work that I did before.
I thought it was
Well,
always in. I think it was in Brazil and would have destroyed the Amazon in the process.
I'm not going to like double check Gundam Wiki or anything. I'm going to double check a map because I know where on the actual map it is. And if I'm just saying the wrong country, then so be it. But I did transcribe myself. I said Venezuela in the past too.
but like, so if we have pieces hitting Australia and a lot of places that are decorated around the around the planet versus a big strike on the equator, the damage that could hit ocean currents and a lot of stuff from that could be far more problematic than the obvious atmospheric issues.
I mean, I get that. Wait, one thing, and then I'm going to address Justin's statement. It is Venezuela, according to the information I had before. Only because they named something like I want to say Carcass or something like that. They named something in the region, and when I looked it up, it was in Venezuela. But to the point that Justin made is also a discussion that we had the last time around, which was the fact that it doesn't happen in the show, which would imply different physics are at work. Because there's an argument that I sometimes make when it comes to reacting to anime, that you make your assumptions based on the world we live in, because that's the base standard. But if something doesn't happen in an anime, and you say that the anime is wrong for not happening this way, you will have to assume that then maybe the anime world is operating on a different set of physics, because it is the world in which stuff happens. So again, the fact that we didn't have years of nuclear winter, the sky was filled with all the dust and debris and smoke from all the fires across the world of this horrible world event, and in fact 7 months later we're looking at blue skies. It is an oddity.
Indeed.
But I guess my last statement therein is that if I'm wrong about Venezuela lessons, you cannot tell me. So just keep that in mind too. I'm pretty sure that I'm right, and I ran through 17 episodes of the original series thinking I was right. So it becomes not only a Justin rule at that point, it becomes a Theta rule as well. You can't tell me if I'm wrong. You can just wait till we get there and say, "Ha, I fucking told you." So just hold that in your back pocket.
It's not a really big point. We already kind of saw it in Origins anyway.
Well, you know what? Actually, I'll jump to my third note here, because it actually revolves around locations. So that way we just get into that one. We didn't talk about this last time, but they mentioned locations in the last episode, like Great Canyon and Mid Lake, that when Griffin and I watched had speculated that those were the Grand Canyon and Lake Mead, which would mean that they must have been moving east from wherever they came down in California. That's another comment I don't think made its way here, that we thought they landed in California, which makes sense if they are headed towards Venezuela, the location of the Earth Federation base that Zeon was targeting with Operation British.
I mean, in the last bit, when we see Garma waving at a crowd, one of the things that he says that he was taking over the North American continent, and it looked like he was having a parade in the ruins of LA, basically. So,
oh god, there's two things here that I want to talk about, but one is implicitly a Justin rule, so I can't do anything here. There is a confusion between knowledge that the show gives us and knowledge that I know from a different source. One is implied visually and in the medium, and the other one is implied in text-based and does not collaborate with the information of the show that I have seen. So that is the confusion, but it doesn't, I will say it doesn't have anything to do with the Venezuela thing. It has more to do with Garma-related stuff. So
I think I suspect where you're going with that, but yeah.
Anything more to say would be Justin Rule, so I can't bring that up. But yeah, know that when Griffin and I were watching this, we were also reacting to the manga of Witch from Mercury, Vanada's Heart, I believe it was called, where we were also trying to figure out map locations based on stuff in the manga. So it was a big thing that we were on at the time. Looks like Garma has become the master of combat intel. Char's had so many more fights with the Gundam, and even snuck into Luna 2 to gather intel himself. But it's with just a few fights that Garma's got all these write-ups on it, and is making discoveries that shock even Char. I do love, though, that Char is far beyond some Saturday morning villain that tries to do the same thing over and over again. He's like the raptors from Jurassic Park, constantly testing for weaknesses until he finds a place to strike, both with his allies and his enemies, as it turns out from Origin, as we know.
Yeah, I mean, Char is out for one person, Char, basically. In any other cartoon, he would be the Starscream, but he's well above that.
I cannot do that impression.
I can't put him as the Starscream because he's too effective.
You can't. Did you watch the movie? When Megatron gets ruined by the initial fight, Starscream takes over.
That might be the movie, but in 90% of media Starscream is in, he's good at planning, but can never follow through.
I put it this way: Starscream wants to be a Char, and he's way below that. That's what I meant. Normally, that kind of character would be the Starscream, but he's playing his own game. So,
oh God, hold on. Let me see if I can pull a deep cut here. No.
I guess the better example would be Cobra Commander.
Yes.
Because Cobra Commander does get sidelined by, God, I can't remember a snake guy's name. The hover chair, not hover chair, hover.
Yeah, it's the thing that came to my mind is his shout in the G.I. Joe movie.
Cobra.
Which is, no, he has a specific shout when he comes out. In the second time, he is introduced in one movie, but then G.I. Joe, the official movie, he gets one that's pretty ridiculous.
I can't remember his name because I didn't give a shit about him. I was always a Cobra Commander guy. Serpentor, yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah, because they always refer to him. The main guy from the movie is always like Serpentor is going to be in charge. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, because they literally made him to be the made from the greatest generals and leaders of human history.
That's a shame he loses just as much as Cobra Commander does.
Okay. I've got that. I know the example I was looking for. Char, to me, gives Baron Zemo. Baron Zemo is never the scariest guy that you go up against. He's never the obvious fear. However, whenever anybody tries to match up against him, they go, oh shit. What do I do?
I don't know.
That's the vibes I get.
I mean, that might be fitting. I just don't have that much connection to Baron Zemo to know. That's right. Baron Zemo to me is that guy who danced in the Marvel TV shows. I have no connection to the purple face mask guy.
So, especially MCU, but they carry him over very well from the comics. What they did, the Avengers beat every single force they went up against up until him. The Avengers did not beat him. Black Panther did.
Mm-hmm.
Because what he did was he took their greatest strengths and just said, "Okay, flip it. I'm just gonna play off what you fear your coworker is gonna do."
Sorry, I'm just thinking that Justin League movie. Justin League movie? God damn
The
it.
Justin League movie coming out in 2022.
No, just that one where the bad guys get Batman's plans for the Justice League goes rogue and uses them
Yep.
against them. I guess Prometheus also does that, which is, the guy who has a computer on his head.
Mm.
All right, next up. Kai tends to be right a lot of the time, but it's how he says everything. He hasn't yet adjusted his attitude to the situation he's in versus how he used to run things back on Side 7. He was kind of the leader of his little group, and now everything's been taken away from him. I feel like he's just making observations and asserting what little control he has over his life by pushing on other people. Even after he gets punched and apologizes after making a snide comment, he still punches down by yelling at the kids. The real-world experience of being in a fight versus sitting on the sidelines commenting about it has also scared the shit out of him, which I gotta believe is going to be a major turning point. I wouldn't be surprised if he has an emotional breakdown at some point too, and I think all this slapping and punching is just going to rush him towards it. I mean, unless he just slowly changes over time as a result of it, it just feels more likely a response would be he's going to explode while explaining himself and why he is the way he is.
Very well said.
Also, I mean, the thing is that it also highlights the fact that he's a civilian in a military situation. And in a military situation, there's a very big difference between telling your commanding officer, "Sir, have you considered this option?" versus, "Yeah, I know you're a piece of shit and I don't believe you." Ha ha. Because that would get you court-martialed.
Well, I think the difference here, and I think
no
this
matter how accurate you are, by the way.
the difference here, and I think this is something I can speak to on Justin's behalf here because we watched Gundam Seed. That when you compare it to say Gundam Seed, where they're volunteers on the ship until they become essentially drafted, in that here's your papers explaining why you were civilians serving on a military ship and how you're going to get out of the military now. In that we've drafted you and now we're letting you go, as to explain why you were here. And they're like, no, I think we're going to stay. We're going to get rid of that out part and just be part of the military, so that then they have to start respecting the military stuff. Versus these people who are just volunteers. Kai is a civilian just wearing a uniform, saying whatever the fuck he wants to say, because you can't court-martial me. I'm not in the military.
Well, times of war can change things. Just give me a moment.
That's so in that case, how would it be handled if they did have to punish an action of Kai's?
Just be ready to say that again.
Of course.
My nose is so fucking itchy today. Also notice I'm breaking out in that one very specific place you always do in like a TV show when you're like, oh no, I've got prom tomorrow.
Do you have prom tomorrow?
I do have to see a doctor tomorrow. Maybe I'll ask him after prom. So I wear a face mask everywhere I go these days, so it doesn't even matter. All of this is covered. All right, say that thing you said again, Justin.
How do you think it would be handled if Kai had to be punished and or reprimanded?
Send him to the break.
Then if he doesn't have if he's not technically military.
Send him to
Not
the
a
break.
problem. No, send him to the break. I mean, when you have a military situation, he could still be court-martialed.
Well, he's on a military ship, but he would still unless he does something very specifically to hinder them in a combat situation, he'd still be beholden to a civilian authority. But you could still hold him the same way you would hold anybody else, because if he was a disruption, send him to the brig. That's what the brig's made for.
Yeah.
But otherwise,
Well,
you just
I don't know what type of articles of war the Federation operates in, but essentially these people have been drafted. That's what it is.
well, they're not though. They're not though, and that's my standpoint is that you can't get him on like insubordination or disrespect of a higher officer. He's not in the military. You can restrain him or whatever you need to do in the combat situation because your authority on a combat bridge. Same thing you guys were coming up about the whole sit-in was stupid, right? That they're obstructing a military operation. In that case, he's a civilian obstructing a military operation.
No, I think the problem is that you don't understand when you are at times of war.
Oh, never come at me with that.
The laws of war apply. And I don't know exactly. It depends. The problem is we don't know exactly how the Federation operates or what conventions and what regulations have, but they could have a law of war situation where the military, it's martial law, right?
My counter to
Military-
your argument is the fact that on Luna 2 they were kept with the civilians. They are not drafted. They're not military officers. They're still considered
exactly.
civilians.
We don't know what if anything regulations are, but I would suspect that if they really wanted to push the issue, they were like, oh, martial law, you're in the military control. You don't like, court martial him or.
I'm not arguing that couldn't happen. I'm saying that hasn't been shown to us, and I feel like the show wouldn't skip that. The same way Gundam Seed doesn't skip it. They would be shown to be drafted so that we would know what the characters, what stakes the characters are under now. Because that's kind of the impetus of the show at this point, anyway. That we need to know what Amuro's mental state is. We need to see how the characters are handling the stresses that are being put upon them. So to skip them being drafted would be insane. All right, next up. Zaku pilots still aren't ejecting, but at least one has had the sense of mind to see the Gundam, drop his gun, and just try to make a run for it. Unfortunately, Amuro isn't a live and let live kind of pilot, and chased his ass down and killed him anyways. I guess if you show up for a fight, just expect to die if Amuro takes the field.
I mean, again, how did Amuro start all this? These guys started opening fire. They killed a bunch of people inside 7. So it's like, why should I accept surrender? Again, he's also, now that you said he's a civilian, He has no responsibility to take surrender. Militaries, under different laws, and have an obligation to take a surrender. Civilians don't have that responsibility.
Yeah,
right.
It falls into a very weird ground because I know there are laws about civilians fighting in a war zone. Because I do believe that one of the first, we made a lot of jokes back in the day about war crimes because war crimes just happen all the time in Gundam. About it being a war crime to shoot I know it's disabled is one of the words we've used before, but he wasn't disabled. He just made himself uncombat worthy. He surrendered his weapons. Yeah,
he becomes a non-combatant.
Yeah, and he basically killed a non-combatant.
Yeah,
potentially surrendering one, depending on how you want to read the situation. He clearly wasn't surrendering; he was trying to run away, but he made himself non-combat viable. But yeah, the argument that Amuro was a civilian, so technically, I guess just murder.
What?
Pretty much.
Amuro would at this point would have to be somewhere between civilian and military. That because the amount of time he's been in the field.
I don't think you get common law married into the military.
Yeah, no. He could be considered an insurgent. He could
That's
be considered
what I mean.
an auxiliary. And again, I don't think the Geneva Conventions apply, or if they do, they got okay, we know that the Arctic Treaty.
Literally was about to bring that up.
May or may not have reinstituted the Geneva Conventions. And we don't know the specific articles of it. We don't get a read of what they agree to. So, yeah. Justin Rule, their example. And they also talk about insurgents on Earth fighting against Sion. So,
I'll bring up a Gundam Seed example again that Justin and I previously had a conversation about. Is the world darker in Gundam than it is in real life? Because there's a big debate we had in Seed about hostage taking being a war crime, and in one of the episodes they have a mock trial for the main character, where one of them brings up the fact that hostage taking is against the law, the world court, and another character says, except under these situations, which weren't real. I mean, they're made to be real in the world, but they're not real in reality, implying that the world of Gundam Seed is a darker reality where we just said, sometimes you gotta take a hostage. So, is the world of Universal Century Gundam just darker, where these laws don't exist or have changed to reflect this new environment?
They may not have existed in the first place.
Again, it's an alternate reality. So,
Yeah.
all right, my last note here. When Amuro is fighting Char, Core Fighter versus Shuttle, Amuro seems to get a painful flash when Char goes to fire on him. I'm getting reminded of when Lala helped Char in his fight against Aga. Just like in that fight, it might have been Amuro dodged in that moment, but more than that, he calls out Char when he's firing back. I think that's how he knows it's Char. I mean, conceivably, there could be any number of shuttles in the air right now that could attack him. I just want to throw out there that there's a heavy Justin rule applied to this comment, that I deleted a large number of it because Griffin and I knew a lot of stuff about Gundam before we started watching Universal Century. So I've edited a lot of that stuff out just to point out that, hey, there was a flash there, and suddenly he knew Char was in that shuttle.
Interesting.
Kind of like that time that Char had that flash and threw a guy through a wall. Kind of like that flash that time when Lala helped him dodge a thing in that fight against Aga. I'm just pointing fingers, that's all. These things seem oddly connected. Yeah, I think Lesson's a little bit more tied by that Justin rule than the rest of us, but
Like they said in the comments of Macros Plus, man, Lessons is really holding it in.
I think they were also asking me to ask you for spoilers, but I mean, that's not going to happen.
Indeed.
So yeah, that's me pointing those things out and hoping if Justin has a comment about it, cool. If not, we'll just move on.
Nope.
All right, well, anything else y'all want to cover before we hop into this?
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do?
Well, one thing that I didn't cover on the recap was the fact that also Amuro seems to be under increasing stress, as we see in the last panel of the last scene. So I think that might be important. I don't know.
I
Just
had
throwing it-
I had a note written out about it, but we had actually discussed during the episode a whole lot about Amuro's potential PTSD and sleep deprivation and everything like that. That I thought that would have been just literally doubling down on the topic that we had already discussed at length.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and hop on into it.
Let's do it.
But before we get started,
Make sure that you hit the like button.
Hit that subscribe button.
Comment down below to feed that algorithm.
on top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this,
Unfiltered.
Uncensored.
And uncut.
as well as some early access stuff,
You can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
That was a bit loud,
Was it?
at least on my part.
I typically run my my TV down to like 20 to 10 range.
My volume was also slightly reduced.
Well, annoyingly, I've also realized while I'm doing the sound editing that sometimes my TV sound is loud enough that I can kind of hear it in the background of my own recording, which is horrible. I don't have much I can do about that. Other than, I guess, watch the show in complete silence, just read the subtitles. And we've already reached the point that there's not much left to talk about in the opening.
Yep.
Yeah.
Other than, I guess, possibly Reach for the Sun. Nope. Sorry. There we go.
No. Yeah.
Well, he's seizing his power to know that it's Char in the cockpit.
I was going to say they're just big fans of the Polyphonic Spree. Light and Day, my favorite song of theirs. I don't even know how many people would still know the Polyphonic Spree. The Light and Day made its way into the soundtrack of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. But
I have to watch that movie. I've seen a lot of gifs about it, but I haven't watched it.
I had heard the song before then on, I think, old Conan O'Brien.
Oh, there goes that eagle or hawk or whatever.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna live, right?
Potentially, Side 7 has no air anymore. We have no idea if anyone went back to, like, fix it.
Or did the Xeon bother to capture it or something? Oh, we blasted a hole in it.
I mean, they might have. If they think Operation V, I think it was V, if they think Operation V was headquartered there, they might have taken it for whatever the research base was. I mean, it would have been smart.
And tried to find that super, what was it, super napalm?
Yeah,
Something like that.
Might have been stored there. They used it there.
Gundam.
Yeah, what a way to tell you that this planet, this Earth sucks like two howling dogs in the ruins of a place.
I mean, I hate to share it with you, Lessons, but Earth sucks now.
Also, we got an explanation in the Discord, I think, of how the white base actually flies. So there is an explanation for it.
Is that on the Discord?
Yeah, I think so. To doing my morning reps, I decided to rest.
Let me lay in my bed with my hands over my head.
The fact I'm wearing a wife beater has nothing to do with the fact that I slap women.
そのくせ眠ろうと思っても眠れないしさ。
セイラさんに相談してみようか。お医者さんの卵なんでしょ、セイラさん。
うるさい
He's a
な。
doctor.
いい加減にしなさいよ。アムロらしくない。
モビルス
I think
ー
we
ツで
assumed
戦
it's
う
a
方が
doctor.
よっぽど僕らしくないよ。
この間の戦争で大人はみんな死んでるのよ。年寄りと若い人が戦わなくちゃならないのはジオンだって地球連邦だって同じじゃなくて。そのくせやめなさい。
I bite my thumb at the.
We're him biting his nails?
Okay, T-Bolt.
連邦軍はもっと新しい兵器を開発しているんだよ。それが完成するまでの間、敵の目を引きつけておく。おとりなのさ、僕らは。
考えすぎよ。休んでる方がいいわ。
I think he wants to suck his thumb, but you know, he's like, I'm too old for that, so I'll bite my nail.
無線入りました。
参謀本部からか。よし。
こちらホワイトベース。
防衛軍本部通信解読回廊アルファガイン。
アルファガイン了解。
Give me that.
ホワイトベースは敵
He's like, what the hell?
突破して海に
I
脱
keep
出
my
する
receipts.
それだけです。
助けにも来てくれないのか。おい、話はできないのか。参謀本部と。
無理です。ジオンの勢力圏内では暗号通信だって危険すぎます。
将軍たちは何と思っているんだ。現場を知らんのだ、戦場。
田村さん、お年寄りたちの食事。
だってよ、何の証拠も俺たちにはつかめねえだろうに。
言いがかりだよ。俺ばかりうまいものを食べてる暇あるわけないだろう。
それにしちゃお前の顔色が良すぎんだよ。
貴様
Blaming a big guy for being big.
なぜアムロとリュウだけ俺たちの食
Guy
事より
still
量が
passes
多いん
bully
だよ。
mentality.
ライトさんの命令だ。
True.
彼を正義のパイロット並みに扱えってな。
俺たちだって戦ってるんだぞ。
兵隊の食事のカロリーは作業量によって決められてんです。
ここで言い争わないで、カイさん。 ブライトさんなりリード艦長に言うべきだわ。
まさか。
Yeah, Kai, don't be a dick.
いいものあげる。はい。頑張ってね。キッカー。みんなには内緒だ。
He's right there. She beats out Pedro for the most recent adorable anime kits.
武器弾薬はそこを突き始めているんだ。今度大きな戦い
I
があ
don't
ったら
know.
支えきれ。分かっています。だからどうし
He's
て
more proactive.
考えているんでしょう。生き抜くだけなら簡単だよ。
Yeah, but that's
Does
not what made him a
proactive
good
make him
kid.
more adorable?
Being an accurate kid was made him a good kid.
リード注意。
The character.
さっきはごめん。
いいのよ。
What an asshole.
Yo.
一緒に食べよう。
いいんですか。すみません。
He stole a little bit of your bread. Here, have a whole meal.
だったらこんなところで食べさせるな。
アムロ。
だったら
That dude deserves to be hit. You don't take food from a kid.
無意味ではなかったはずだ。一人一人戦い
I mean, they're the easiest best people to take from, so if you're gonna take food, might as well take it from a kid.
ハヤトとセーラは機銃の手入れに回っている。パトロールを出しましょう。アムロ、パトロールに出動することを命ずる。ブリッジに上がってこい。何をしている？急げ。
Raw tomato? Ugh. I don't think that's something I would eat unless I'm really hungry.
Raw tomatoes are fine.
Yeah, but they don't seem like something I would just eat out like that. I have to slice it at
At
least.
least put a little salt on it.
I mean,
Yeah.
salt maybe, but I'm just saying, like, there's nothing wrong with a raw tomato. It's tomato. No different than actually a sliced tomato. They taste the same. It's a little more juicy, I guess, to bite into. I think I'm surprised. I've heard a lot of tomato hate lately.
よし、そのまま俺の木にフォローさせるようにコンピューターをセットするんだ。了解。
I love the fact that the trained military personnel is like, this jet isn't. I'm not good at flying this jet, and the teenager's like, I got it.
ガルマ、君が行くこともなかろう
No,
に。
the guy who's giving the instructions is a trained fighter pilot.
家族のいない君にはわからない苦労さ。
Ah, burn!
出撃するぞ、各員。
Also,
どうした？敵の戦
I
闘機
guess
です。
true, we did kill them in the origin.
ガルマ、発進は中止だ。戻れ。
By which I mean actual Char family.
戻るんだ、ガルマ。
Char mom and Char dad,
Yeah.
リュウさん、なぜ攻撃しないんです？
who ironically are actually
ガンを
Char
見つけたっていう
now.
のに。
They were an explosion.
コアファイターがあと6機もあればガンを攻撃するんだな。30秒前の映像だ。ただのパトロールだ。だとすれば木馬はかなり焦っている。焦っている？木馬がパトロールを出すなど初めてだ。弱点があるからこ
That's
そ
right. The Trojan horse is making mistakes.
なるほど。小物を相手にせず本命を叩けばいいというわけか。よし、敵のパトロールを終え。
There goes the wing for some reason.
I think meant to imply the tightness of their
よ
turn.
し、コアファイターのガンキャノン。
Yeah.
ガンタンクへの完走、急げ。
また缶オケ入りかよ。
上に行きます。リュウさん、お願いします。不慣れだから指示してくれよ。はい。
Giving everybody combat experience.
わからないわよ。あのカイさんだってガンキャノンに乗るし。
Combat experience is valuable.
みんなはこれから嫌になるのさ。僕は違う。何回も何回も乗せられたんだ。
何？フラウボ。アムロがダメなんです。戦いたくないって。
なんだと？
ブライト。
アムロ、いいか。出撃なんだぞ。
戦いが終わったらぐっすり眠れ
How
るってい
dare
う保
you
証がある
not
んで
do
すか？
exactly what we want?
アムロ。自分でもどうしようもないんだ。
私、アムロ
In that scene, it feels like they just woke up together and like, Amuro.
僕だってそうなんだ
We know it isn't that way because she's just reaching for the
怖い
screen,
の
but
嫌なん
still.
だよ。
It's almost like you have to take the child's emotions into account before you just keep on sending him out to kill people.
やれやれ、戦力ったってこれだけかよ。ブライトさん。
すぐガンダムも降りるわ。戦力的には自信を持って。いいわね。
へえ、セイラさんは気休めがお上手で。
アムロ、貴様なぜ自分の任務を果たそうとしないんだ。
ブライトさんはなんで戦ってるんです？
今はそんな哲学など語っている暇はない。立てよ、おい。
You're gonna
やめてくだ
have
さい
to.
よ。そんなにガンダムを動かしたいなら、あなた自身がやればいいんですよ。
何？できればやっている。貴様に言われるまでもなくな。
僕だってできるからやってるんじゃないんですよ。
To be fair though, Bright should go out in it. Why not?
殴ってなぜは
Yeah.
貴様はいい。
Why shouldn't I hit
気
you?
分も晴れるんだからな。
僕がそんなに安っぽい人間ですか？
Too many of those slaps and you won't be too bright after.
左翼に新しい変態だ。リュウ、気をつけろ。
おう、はいこそ前に出過ぎて打ち取られるな。あと、弾は少ないんだ。よく狙えよ。
了解です。
さあ、聞こえるか。木馬がなぜ焦っているか分かったぞ。おお、それは幸いだな。なぜだ。教えてくれ。モビルスーツだ。陸戦タイプのは2機出ているが、例のやつが出ていない。おそらく出られんのだよ。
Like, technically, the core of all these things is a core fighter, which is an air type.
当たった。左のエンジンに攻撃を集中しろ。
ガンキャノン、ガンタンク。
Sure love the super accurate way we've built into the pilot this thing.
あれか。
It's good enough for a cruise liner. It's good enough for the high-tech weapon of the Federation.
Well, the high-tech weapon just shoots cruise liners.
親父にもぶたれたことないのに。
それが甘ったれなんだ。殴られもせずに一人前になったやつがどこにいるものか。
もうやらないからな。誰が二度とガンダムなんかに乗ってやるものか。
アムロ、いい加減にしなさいよ。しっかりしてよ。情けないこと言わないで、アムロ。
Okay.
アムロ、今のままだったら貴様は虫けらだ。それだけの才能があれば貴様はシャアを超えられるやつだと思っていた。残念だよ。
Not my dad.
See, arguably, if he was in
they're
the
all
military,
crazy.
you think he could do more to
アムロ、
Amuro
ガ
than
ンダム
just
に操
hit
縦
him.
方法の手引き書ってあるんでしょ？私ガンダムに乗るわ。自分のやったことに自信を持てない人なんて嫌いよ。今日までホワイトベースを守ってきたのは俺だって言えないアムロなんて男じゃない。私
I think I dislike this more than the cockpit explosion from Seed.
アムロ、
悔しいけど僕は男なんだな。
Well, it was fine. She motivated him with.
Yeah, it was the airplane style motivation.
ギルさん、敵はホワイトベースしか狙っていません。
No, that was them just guilt tripping him into ignoring his emotions and PTSD, not dealing with his problem.
Would you rather he die? Because if White Base
No,
goes down, they're all gonna fucking die.
I get that, but like, have other people capable of doing any form of defense.
Oh, they did. They all died. Beginning of the episode, all the adults are dead. All the combat people are dead. Adults and elderly children are it.
対空戦闘大丈夫ね。アムロ。
はい。試してみたい戦い方があります。ガンタンクとガンキャノンには援護を頼みます。
伝えておくわね。当てにしてるわよ。
しかし見事じゃないか。ガルマ大佐の
I like right in the back and go like,
親の七光で大佐になっただけの人物ではないな。
調査よろしいのでありますか。我々は見ているだけで。
いいだろう。援護が必要なら呼び出すと言っていたし、下手に手出しをするとプライドの高い彼のことだ。後で怒られるしな。この距離なら無線は使えるんだろう。
はあ、ミロフスキー粒子の濃度は変わりませんが、このくらいなら音声は入るはずです。
それならいいじゃないか。私だってガルマに叱られたくないからな。
Up to no good. I mean, we just saw him disconnect something, so obviously up to no good.
not just disconnected, he poured something into it. You see a little like dirt that came out.
Well, that's the problem, is it came out. It's a very confusing scene.
Yeah. The animation was not top notch then.
It's easier just to think that he disconnected something. The effect is the same.
無線解除だ。セーラ、ガンキャノン、ガンタンクに指令。ガンダムの着手進化を狙い撃ちされないように援護させろ。
了解。
The heroic music has kicked in.
分かってますよ。
Indeed.
すごいじゃないか。ハヤト、援護するぞ。
了解です。ドップをテイクに入れさせなければいいんですね。ドップはこれ以上近づけさせん。8、5、2、0。モビルスーツがジャンプしている。いや、飛んでいるんだ。連邦軍め、なんてモビルスーツを作ったんだ。
Gundam was able to leap tall buildings in a single bound.
3つ。
That's how Ryo almost died. Oh shit, I just got that joke you made half an hour ago. I forgot we had a character named Ryu on the show. The whole Guile thing.
Yeah.
アムロ、強くなったわね。
God.
Now I'm
Oh,
more in
man.
love with you now.
Yeah,
She's
Amuro is
clearly
just a
obviously had a
punching
crush
bag
on him the
right
whole
now.
time.
I know, but I'm just that's kind of the joke.
隊長機か。この化け物が落ちろ、落ちろ。これは。
But why do you close your eyes at the last second, Amuro? No
He
wonder
doesn't
you
want to
missed.
see himself kill somebody.
ガウ、聞こえるか。俺だ。モビルスーツだけを木馬から引き離す。ガウの射程距離に入ったらモビルスーツを撃ち落とせ。逃がすものか。
Yeah, he doesn't accept surrender. It's like, yeah.
射程距離に入ったとも知らんで。ガウ、撃て、モビルスーツを。聞こえないのか。ガウ、私だ。ガルマだ。どういうことだ。こちらからは確かに発信しているはずなのに。
Oh no.
しゃあ、しまった。あ、連邦軍の輸送機。
Out of nowhere.
そこのモビルスーツ、聞こえるか。山を越えるとガウの餌食になる。ホワイトベースに戻れ。
誰だ。何でもかんでも知っているようだが。こんな汚れで
All right, so we have a new force.
懲罰の覚悟をしておけ。貴様も貴様だ。そう思うよ。レーザースコープで戦いは見ていたはずだ。私の連絡はなくとも手の打ちようはあったろ。
だからガルマのプライドを傷つけちゃ悪いと思ってな。
私のプライド？
ただ見ていろと私に言っただろう。それにガルマの腕ならあの程度の傷は難なく切り抜けてくれると信じていた。
You know, the minor damage of missing a wing.
まあ残念なことは、敵の輸送機を撃墜しようとしたとき、ガルマの木と一直線上だったので撃てなかった。すまんな。
いや、わかればいい。シャ。
So in a way, it's kind of your fault.
Yeah.
リード中以下のサラミスの乗組員、避難民の病人など35名は引き取ります。ホワイトベース、モビルスーツについては何の決定も知らされておりませんので現状のままです。なお、今までの戦闘記録はレビル将軍の命令によりコピーをいただき
Oh, that asshole.
しかしマチルダ少尉、わかりません。なぜ僕らも船も現状のままなんですか？
さあ、レビル将軍はホワイトベースが現状の戦闘を続けられるのなら正規軍と同じだと言ってました。今は連邦軍だってガタガタなのですからね。私だってレビル将軍の依頼でここまで来ただけです。参謀本部とは関係ありません。
で、次の補給は受けられるのですか？
さあ、このジオンの制空権を脱出できれば
It's not like we can send a Federation transport
連
anywhere.
邦軍にもあなた方を見捨ててはいない人がいることを忘れないでください。
If they're in Xeon airspace, isn't this excessively dangerous for this Federation ship to be here?
Yes.
ありがとう。あなたはエスパーかもしれない。
そんな。
頑張って。
はい。
Some kind of esper? What's that supposed to mean?
There's a creeper.
それは初めて知った女性の香りであったのだろう。
Yes, the Al Pacino movie.
Hooah!
「ホワイトベースを打ち漏らすことはイセリナとの恋にかけてもできなかった」「最後の教習を
Iselina.
ガルマ
Wow.
ザミ」
That's a heck of a
アムロ
name.
たちが闇の中に恐怖を見たとき、シャアの企みがガルマを包む。機動戦士ガンダム、次回ガルマ散る。
君は生き延びることができるか？
Will you be able to survive the wait until next episode?
I hope so.
I hope so. I mean, I just don't know what the implication is. Because again, I don't know who the narrator is talking to. It'd be different if it said, will they be able to survive? Because that'd be a different issue.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, thoughts?
That was my least favorite Gundam moment from everything we've watched.
I think you're fucking
One-
crazy.
When they guilt tripped the teenager dealing with PTSD, exhaustion, and other most likely psychological problems to get back in the cockpit by questioning his manhood and calling him a disappointment.
Fuck that. I'm with Lessons Hero. Slap the shit out of that kid until he gets back in the cockpit.
Oh, sorry, and assault.
Get the mech, Shinji.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. I mean, I didn't like it because his father's a jackass, but, you know, an abusive and got him into that position in the first place. But, you know.
Oh, sorry, you're talking about Evangelion. I was very confused.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
who's his father in this situation? Yeah,
Oh.
well, he wasn't bright, was he?
Oh.
That's a joke. He was bright, actually. He wasn't bright, though. But anyway, yeah, no, I don't care. That's not worse than the Gundam Seed thing you referenced. Also, again, if the white base goes down, then they're all dead. So his
I
little
fully get that.
tantrum means nothing in the grand scheme.
See, the difference is that's not so much a tantrum as someone expressing genuine problems And the answer is not assault, guilt, and questioning their manhood. The answer is, I understand. However, we need you to do this, and we will deal with this afterwards.
When
But
it
if
was
this goes down, we're
Technically, it's
dead.
battery, but still.
when it was the situation when he was talking to Frau, that was the I'm having issues, I'm having problems, I'm trying to discuss this. That was that. When he turned and said, well, then I'm not getting it in anyway, that was the tantrum.
So in that case, the response should have been what she did in the hallway, instead of insulting his manhood, going, in that case, show me where the manual is, I will do it.
That's what she did. And then it added a
But-
little bit of insult because he needed that. Because fuck
But
Amuro
no,
in that scenario.
That happened after Battery
if
questioning
Gundam,
his manhood.
if Gundam
and-
was made in America, Bright would have just grabbed Amuro by the lapels, dragged him to the Gundam, thrown him in, and just dumped the Gundam off the side of the ship. Amuro will figure it out, or we'll all die. Because fuck it. You know what? Fuck it. I hate Amuro sometimes, and I'm glad this is what it takes to get him going. I hope he gets a disorder where that's the only time he can get an erection, is when he's getting this kind of treatment. The kid is horrible. Sorry, I know. I don't feel that way all the way. I've been pushed this far. I'm having a little bit of a tantrum. You might understand from the episode.
Well, first of all, we got 2 slaps for the.
Well, one was a
slap
punch.
counter. Oh, they count.
No. One's a little bit further. You got 1 slap and then 1 punch. The counter is up to you to keep track of.
And we also basically, she told him, if you ever want to get laid, get in the Gundam machine. That's gonna happen. Basically, that's what she told him. And he's like, shit.
Thank God I have another woman I can smell.
I never. Oh, okay. I'm getting back in the robot.
Look, he needed what motivation he could get. Frog was in the room. She saw that Bright tried physical intimidation, and apparently Amuro was a little bit immune to that, which I guess good for Amuro, because, you know, if you let them beat you and win, they're just going to keep beating you. So, sort of a win
Also, I
for
think-
Amuro there.
He says his father never hit him, but I think father treated him far worse than hitting him. Like, I simply am going to ignore all your psychological needs and tell you exactly what you need to do.
I mean,
I think he's already used to that.
That's a different argument, though. I don't know. I don't remember if we had it or it was in a previous one, but what Tem's attention was given to the thing that was more important. I feel like the war effort was more important than his son.
In that instance, yes.
It's not like he didn't care for his son. We did see repeated scenes of him looking at his son's picture. It was the indication of, this is why I do this. But
yes, but he never transmitted that to him. You can say, I love my children, but if you never tell your children you love them, it's like, no.
Again, the actions speak louder than words. Unfortunately, they don't speak to Amuro. I think I said this during Origin. Amuro is a latchkey kid. It's just the reality of the situation.
That's not good, though.
Well, it's not good, but neither is the situation. Like, the world is bad. I'd rather my kid hate me and live than love me and die. Right?
And that's why Amuro murdered him. And only gave it one thought. Oh, my dad is not here.
2 episodes later. Where is my dad? Oh, I hope he got out of there fine.
Oh, he got out of there. That's something.
He made an escape, sort of. At least he was wearing a spacesuit.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that's why I got the question mark around him, because we got a whole, hey, Ryu was floating in deep space for a long time. He just showed back up. So, possibility.
Exactly.
We didn't see him blow up like every Zaku pilot has so far. It'd be different.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm obviously don't abuse kids emotionally or physically. I'm not like it's
obviously don't do that.
Well, no, it follows. I mean, you're laughing, but I mean, I'm trying to explain here to the comment of why do they laugh when bad things are happening, right? I can separate myself from the reality because he's not a cartoon character, he's an anime character. He is not really being happened to. So I can be flippant about it without like I'm not watching a home movie of some kid getting abused by adults that are around him, or I guess older kids, as it turns out, because Bright's only like what 5-6 years older than him.
Yeah, it's not TikTok. We don't have to go there.
Well, I'm just saying it's not serious. So
yep, that's what I mean.
Also, another possibility. Bright says, if you're not going to get in the Gundam, I'm going to do it.
Well, he can't.
And doesn't give the choice.
He can't because Amuro said, "Why don't you get in the Gundam?" And there's like that whole the whole social thing going on here. Bright says, "I'll get in the Gundam." Amuro wins, and for some reason we can't let Amuro win. So I think there's also the fact that he's like second ranking person on the ship, and you don't want to follow the Palo example, right? You don't want to put yourself on the front line and then die and leave the ship to a bunch of kids. Well, no, it's the idea that Paulo fucking shrapneled to death because he led by example. Well, we don't have any people left. All the adults that were combat trained are dead. I have been on this ship since day one. I'm like the last guy here. Other than, you don't want the guy with the broken arm bleeding.
Also, you don't want a person who doesn't know anything about the Gundam to try to do it. I mean, Amuro barely survived the first time. I mean, he only survived because how resistant to damage the Gundam is. Otherwise, he should have been dead.
Learning computer, and he read the manual a lot. So, plus he spent all that time in Origin, well, half the episodes of Origin, reading the specs. So, he is literally the most qualified person. They're not asking the random people on the ship, hey, who here wants to try out the Gundam? Although, to be fair, technically the other two are gun things, so they have who wants to give a try on the gun tank or the gun cannon.
I mean, this is 1970, but I would think that in a modern day, a ship like this would have like a simulator, so everybody could train on it eventually, right? Or like you set up like a computer, like a screen, and like a little Gundam style, video game.
Think so, because I think it would be something that you'd want to protect and limit people's knowledge of.
I am
only for the fact of the more people who know, the more people who can be turned.
I'm getting cross Gundam contamination in my head now. I can't remember. I don't remember if Ryu says something about a simulator, but also the fact that we watch Gundam Seed, which has Archangel, which is basically white base, and it has a simulator in it. So it was literally one of the characters that gets killed, spent all of his time on the simulator, goes out no actual combat, and gets fucking murdered. So maybe not a great.
Also, Macross was a couple years later. They say they spend 25, 50 hours on simulators, so we don't know if that was aboard the Macross, although the Macross is much bigger than White Base, but still.
I think that's probably because it's more beholden to Top Gun and actual Air Force training and whatnot, where you do spend a lot of time on simulators when you're not in active duty. I don't know. Like I said, I'm getting cross-contamination in my head. I can't remember. I want to say that Ryu said something about the experience he's had flying fighter craft, and he said something about simulator time.
In fact, even Amuro said that as well. They got asked, "Oh, what do you?" And I think it was last episode before that. Like, "Oh, what's your experience?" Like, I had like 10 hours in the simulator. I was like, okay, so they have a simulator here, unless he can run simulations inside the Gundam.
Yeah, I was about to say that since we know it has a complex computer system inside, it might be capable of doing, war games stuff. Yeah. Anything else? Anything else we want to bring up about the episode?
Nope.
All right. Well, once again, I have been Theta. Under me is Justin. Beneath him is Lessons. We've been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Get him the
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stone-Faced Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?